Okay. All glories to Mother Ritasha. All glories to the religion of love. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the Supreme Lord. O Lord God, please help us live out these teachings, be an example of love in the world. Jai. So, continuing from the religion of God. And as we read last week, that gentleman, he was consumed by his own anger. And he said he's tried to run from it and deny it, all these things, and still he can't escape his own anger. Oh, wait a minute, that's not where I was. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I've denied, distracted, resisted, and run from it, all to no avail. Still am I consumed by it. And he turns his head away that none should see his tears. And the Master has compassion for this man, as do those present, and having compassion for all who suffer, as this man must suffer, so it is that all are to hear a teaching on forgiveness. For who among us has not had the need to forgive, or to be forgiven at one time or another? In speaking the word forgive, says the Master, I do not speak of condoning wrong, nor do I speak of ever having to associate with anyone who does wrong. I use the word forgive as in the ancient Aramaic word for forgive, shpag, which translated means to untie. Forgiveness as a practice to untie yourself from the past hurt and harm, a thing you do for yourself alone. This then is the teaching of the Master to the man. In the past, begins the Master, you have denied, distracted, resisted, and run from your feelings. Turn now, advises the Master, and face your feelings. Feel fully your anger. Observe where it is in your body, its size, shape, color. It is in the observation of your feelings of anger that you automatically separate yourself from your anger, and realizing you are not your anger will lose its power over you. But when I remember the wrong done to me, begins the man, the lies, and here the Master raises her hand to stop him, saying, the past no longer exists, and you, by your constant rehearsing and remembering of it, are wounding yourself, by yourself, many more times than was ever done to you by another. You cannot change the past. Only in the present is change possible. Stay present in the present. Only the now is real. And if you do remember the person who hurt you, continues the Master, instead of remembering only the bad, remember only the good. Then bless and pray for this person. Send love to this person. In the beginning, it will not feel real to you, but as you continue to do it, it will become real for you. Bless and pray for this person? Send love to this person? This person, explodes the man, who is not worthy of blessings, prayers, and love? You do not do this because this person is worthy, replies the Master calmly. You do it because you are worthy. Still, says the man to the Master, I do not feel like it. Oh, says the Master, you think you must feel something before you can do something? Then tells the Master of a guru in an Eastern lineage who had a young disciple much like the man. Now in the East it is customary for one, when entering into the house of worship, to bow down. It so happened that this young disciple, entering into the house of worship, did not bow down. His guru, seeing this, called over his disciple to chastise him. The disciple, making excuse, said, "Would it not be false for me to bow down without first feeling it?" "First bow down," instructed the guru, "then will you feel it." The man, on hearing this, and then remembering an earlier teaching of the Master, says, "Yes, act as a saint before you are a saint to become a saint." "You are so busy," says the Master to the man, "trying to make this difficult experience how you think it should be, not how it is, that you do not see what it is. You only see the difficulty in the opportunity, and so miss the opportunity in the difficulty. You do not see that a portal into the spiritual has opened before you." Okay. So have a little commentary. Yeah. Teaching on forgiveness. Who among us has not had the need to forgive or to be forgiven at one time or another? Yes, all of us. But this is a different take on forgiveness that we might have previously. We often think forgiveness means like, oh, okay, kiss and make up, shake hands, something like that. But Mother Atasha goes way back to the language of Aramaic. This is the language that Jesus spoke in. And she says, well, first off, I do not speak of condoning wrong. That's not what we're doing here. Forgiveness doesn't say, oh, that's okay what you did or what they did. No, it's not about condoning any wrongdoing or any injustice or any act. Nor is it about having to associate with anyone who does wrong. We often think, oh, forgive them, and now you're all together again. No, it doesn't mean you have to be with that person anymore. No. She says, I use the word forgive as in the ancient Aramaic word for forgive, shpag. Shpag, interesting word, which translated means to untie. That's what shpag means, or the word forgiveness in Aramaic. It means to untie. Forgiveness as a practice to untie yourself from the past hurt and harm, a thing you do for yourself alone. Isn't that interesting? It's a spiritual practice in a sense, something that you're doing to liberate your own self, your own mind from suffering, which is essentially what all our spiritual practices are meant to do, to free our mind from all illusion, all suffering, and by extension, the peace process, that powerful tool rooted in all this spiritual knowledge, and the practice of chanting the holy names, that peace process is meant to liberate us from all the negative thoughts and feelings of our mind, which cause us great stress and anxieties and troubles in life, do they not? And she gives some more teaching on this. In the past, you have denied, distracted, resisted, and run from your feelings. Haven't we done that? Don't we often do that? We don't want to face or accept or acknowledge how we're feeling. We'll just be in such a state of being or mind and just go about our day in that state. Not a very pleasant or peaceful state. We deny that we have such negative feelings or negative thoughts. We try to distract ourselves, keep ourselves busy, while that negativity is still present. We resist it, we don't want to acknowledge it, and we try to run from our feelings. But the problem will always persist until we face it. She says, turn now and face your feelings. And now this is part of the peace process, if you remember. She says, feel fully your anger. Now for this gentleman, his problem is anger. But it could be any one of your negative feelings. It could be depression, could be anxiety, could be stress, annoyance, could be guilt, shame, any type of negative feeling that is causing you to suffer, any negative. So it says, feel fully your anger, what you're feeling, and observe where it is in your body. Now, we often hold this negativity in our body on a cellular level. We actually do. And if you take a step back when you're really feeling something, take some time for yourself and actually feel where in your body is it. Is it in your head? Is it in your throat? Is it in your stomach? Where do you feel it? Just really feel it. And the peace process teaches, do not label it as a good or bad feeling. Just feel what it is. Just observe it. What size is it? What shape is it? What color is it? Really try to observe. Visualize, feel, and experience what's going on inside of you, inside of your body and your mind. It is in the observation of your feelings of anger that you automatically separate yourself from your anger. And realizing you are not your anger will lose its power over you. Again, peace process teaching. We can separate ourselves from our thoughts, from our mind, because we're not the mind. The mind is a tool. It is part of this bodily package. It's a storehouse of all of our memories. It is the engine of action and emotion. All of our feelings, they all come from our thoughts. And you can change your thoughts and therefore change your feelings and your experience in this life. And purify the illusions of the mind so that you see things for what they are and are able to walk the path made straight, unencumbered, undistracted, and thus be more successful on this path and happier and joyful on this path, free from all the nonsense and troubles that we've been carrying for eons, all the emotional baggage. Remember that meme, emotional damage? Remember that that meme guy? Yeah, well, that's what we're holding on to, tons of that stuff. So just observe. Realize, quite quickly, if you really give it all your attention, that just by observing something that's inside of you, it starts to lose its power to affect you when you're just observing it. It might not go away, of course. Sometimes for little things, it will just go away. I mean, you just take a deep breath, really look at what's going inside yourself. It might even just run off like a mouse, gone. But for big stuff, things that we're holding on to, big traumas, big pains, just seeing it for what it is, its shape, its color, its size, where in the body, all that. Just by looking at it, already you feel a little better because you're not just consumed by it, but now you're looking at it objectively and seeing that it is not you. You take a step back from your thoughts, from your mind, because you are not your mind. And again, this is also conditioning, remembering who we really are, not the body, not the mind, but the true spirit self, because we aren't the mind. Who was it that said, you are what you think? I think, therefore I am. That's actually not true. For the false ego, yeah, but not the true ego, not the real self, just the illusory self of the body itself. And I got some notes from Mother Tasha I'll share. She said, being upset or attached to someone is entanglement. Forgiveness is freeing yourself from entanglement. Being angry at someone for doing something, then forgiving, is freeing yourself. Not that it was right what they did, but you let it go. Freeing them is secondary and up to them. So, and how to do that? She says, the guy says, but when I remember the wrong done to me, the lies, and she goes, stop, you know. You can just imagine, like, nope, stop there. Let me catch you there for a second. She raises her hand and says, the past no longer exists. It doesn't. The past is the past. It's gone. It only exists in our memories. That's it. She says, by your constant rehearsing and remembering of it, and that's what we do, right? We replay our old traumas and all our negative experiences over and over like a broken record, like an old home movie on replay. She says, you are wounding yourself by yourself many more times than was ever done to you by another. Right, someone can do something or say something to us that hurts, and that was just one incident that happened in one day in your life from the past. Yet, for years and years and years, we may relive and re-experience that same event over and over again and continue to deepen those wounds by our own minds. Constantly rehearsing it, remembering it, focusing on the negative, letting it just fester and control how we feel in life. You cannot change the past. Only in the present is change possible. Stay present in the present. Only the now is real. Stay present in the present. So how do you do that? Well, anytime you're in the mind, thinking about the past, what happened, this and that, you're in that world of your mind. You're not present in that moment. Right now, you've taken a tour into the archives of your mind, which is all of the past, and you are not present in the actual moment that is happening now. So you gotta not do that. You gotta stop reacting to the past, stop going into that loop of the mind, and you take conscious action in the present moment to free yourself from this entanglement. And that observing, where you breathe, taking deep breaths, feeling your feelings, looking at inside yourself, looking at your mind, your thoughts, observing yourself as separate from them. That is you presently taking actions now, being present in the present. And that's the only way you're going to make change happen in your life, if you become present, not if you're always stuck in the mind. Like someone who is deeply in depression, they're one who completely lives in the past of the mind and not present at all. And we may have a conversation, we may talk to each other, we may go and do stuff, but still the mind can be wandering here and there, and it's constantly replaying that negativity, even in the background. Literally like a broken record in the background, just subtly playing. And that energy, that frequency, that negativity in your mind has an effect on you and even all around you. And if you do remember the person who hurt you, here comes the hard part. Instead of remembering only the bad, remember only the good. This is a tricky part. And so to free yourself, find a good thing of them and of that or situation, whatever that brought up your bad feelings. Try to understand the other person. Find some good thing of affection for them, and breathe. Keep breathing. And this could be really tough for someone who's really hurt us bad. This is very difficult. As the other guy says, I don't feel like doing it. You remember? We're going to get to that in a second. Yes, this is very challenging. It is to find good thoughts about someone who's so wicked, even downright evil. My goodness, it's very difficult. But this is what we need to do to free ourselves. She says, bless and pray for this person. Send love to this person. And it's got to be a true thought. Any good true thought. Anything. If you have any good memory, anything positive that you can give them credit for, focus on that good. And just let that be your focus. Yes, the bad stuff they've done. Yes, the not awful stuff. But just focus on whatever few good things. Even just one. And it could even be that, at least, good fashion sense, good shoes. At least he pet a dog one time, he was nice to, just find any good thought. It's got to be a true thought. And then bless this person, pray for this person, send love to this person. She says, in the beginning, it will not feel real to you. But as you continue to do it, it will become real for you. Now here comes the guy with his practicality. Bless and pray for this person? You gotta be kidding me. Send love to this person? This guy's not worthy of blessings, prayers, and love. What? I'm sure we feel like that about some people, right? But the Master brings it back to the teachings. He says, you do not do this because this person is worthy. You do it because you are worthy. You are worthy of love, of being again in your original state of love. You are worthy and deserving to be free from suffering. So you're not doing this for them. You're doing it for you. You're not forgiving them so that they are appeased, that they feel better. You're forgiving them so that you are no longer entangled and you no longer suffer. Still, the man says, I do not feel like it. Oh, she says, you think you must feel something before you can do something? And then there's the story of the disciple with his master. He enters the temple and he doesn't offer his obeisances. He doesn't bow down, which is customary. And the guru, chastises him that you have to do that. And he says, well, wouldn't it be false for me to bow down without first feeling it? And I've heard this before. I would feel fake, right? I don't want to be fake. I want to be real with myself. I want to be true to myself, right? I don't want to just go with the motions if I don't feel like doing it. Like, what's that? I don't want to be fake. But there's truth in that. But when you're surrendered unto God and to this path, and you receive instructions from the proper guidance, from the good guide, the spiritual master, the scriptures, you just got to have faith and you just got to do it. And again, this is the good guide, mind you. Not just any misleader out there or any bogus, quote-unquote, spiritual religious teacher, no. But the pure devotee of God, the real qualified, bona fide representative of the message of God. You just got to follow their instructions with all your heart and all surrender and humility. You just do it. That's how you get successful in spiritual life. You just follow their instructions. That's it. Surrender in all humility, render loving service, inquire submissively, hear submissively, and put into practice whatever instruction, knowledge, guidance that is given you. That is the blessing. That is the mercy. And the real initiation in spiritual life is following those instructions, doing them. And it may not feel real to you in the beginning, but as this master says, first bow down, then you will get the feeling. Yes, chant the holy names of God and you will experience eternality, bliss, and love. You'll experience love of God. But of course, you don't feel all that bliss and eternality in the beginning of chanting, no. But still you do it. You have faith and you surrender and you keep doing it, doing it, doing it. And sure enough, you keep doing that offenselessly, practicing purely, you will get those experiences. You will feel that. Oh yes, but you just gotta do it. I use the gross analogy of like exercise, for example. You want to be strong, you want to be fit, well, you gotta do the hard work. You gotta exercise, you gotta work out. Right now you feel weak, you don't feel the strength. So you gotta do the work, and then eventually that strong feeling will come. It's kind of a, it's not the best example, but it's a practical one. And the man, on hearing this, and then remembered an earlier teaching of the Master, says, yes, act as a saint before you are a saint to become a saint. Yeah, how would a saint act? How would Mother Atasha act? How would a Jesus of Nazareth act? How would the Buddha act? How would a great saint, holy person that we honor and revere, how would they act in a situation? Think, what would they do? Would they bear a grudge? Would they just be bitter and miserable at other people? No. They let that go. That doesn't mean they'll go and hang out with that person anymore. But they'll let go of the anger they're harboring. They'll let go of their enmity, their anger, the contamination covering their heart. They'll let that go and they'll act in love. And remember, just again, it's not about, going to that person who's done you wrong and high-fiving them and giving them a hug and now let's all go hang out. No. It's something, they don't even have to know that you've let go of your anger for them, that in your heart, in your mind, you've forgiven and freed yourself. They don't even have to know. It's not for them. You don't have to make a formal show of it. Write them a letter, I forgave you. No, you don't have to. This is what the teaching is, the shvag, this untying yourself of anger, of your feelings, of negativity, of your own suffering. It's for you, not for them. So though you may come to a level of love and understanding for someone and forgiven for yourself, still you must be discerning if they are good association or not. Don't be illusioned by sentimentality. Or their family, or they're a lover, etc. No. You got to be discerning who is good association for your spiritual life. You are so busy, says the Master to the man, trying to make this difficult experience how you think it should be, not how it is, that you do not see what it is. You see only the difficulty and the opportunity, and so miss the opportunity in the difficulty. Think about that. So we're trying to we have difficult experiences in life, yes. We have troubles, we have obstacles, hurdles in life, trying times in life. We all do. And we create our own narrative, don't we? On how we think that that's how it all is. That's how it all should be. Should be like this. Shouldn't have been like that. Right? But we don't actually see what it really is. How it really is. It's an opportunity. Any time that you have any negative feeling, that is an opportunity, a blessing for you to catch what is actually hidden inside your own self that needs to get out. Every time you are upset is actually a blessing for you to do the work, breathe, feel the feelings, and let it go for good so it never comes back. A chance to clean out some nasty grime that you couldn't reach before, but now there it is, right in front of you. Now you can actually clean it and be gone for good. and never be experiencing or suffering that anymore. It's a portal into the spiritual opening before you. What is a spiritual? Your original spiritual state of love, which is just covered over. And anytime you have those difficulties, all those troubles in your minds, that's an opportunity to remove that covering and come closer to love, to your real self. Thus is the process of spiritual realization, self-realization. Okay, it's been half an hour. Let me pause there. Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, so you mentioned difficult times being an opportunity. Should this be something that you seek out on your own? Take on charity, hardship, other things that would put you outside of your comfort zone? Or is that something that comes more naturally and it comes to you and you don't actually, on purpose, seek out difficulty to improve yourself?
So should you be a masochist and seek pain? They have an opportunity to...
Not pain, but, I could just stay at home, chant all day, and not actually interact with the outside world. You know what I mean?
Wow, could you actually sit at home and chant all day long?
No, that would be very boring.
So, no, you don't have to seek this stuff out. No, it'll happen by the grace of God. You continue doing your work. You continue doing your sadhana, your spiritual practices. And everyone, we all have our day-to-day. We have to work. We have to do things. We're busy. We're not at the level yet to, sit down all day long and chant the holy names of God and peace and solitude. And that's not even recommended, really. I mean, for a few particular personalities who are meant to do that, they're instructed to do that, sure, but we're not meant to imitate them. So there will be these things coming to you by their own accord. You don't have to seek them out. And God is going to arrange all of that. Don't worry. As long as you desire God sincerely with all your heart and desire to be purified of all this nonsense, all this covering, all this ignorance and illusion, and to be self-realized, to be in your state of love, to render pure, loving, devotional service unto God, then God will make arrangements for these cleaning opportunities to present themselves. They will. You will be tested and tried. That'll happen. And often when you don't expect it, because that's the thing about the mind, is that it's so fast. The Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, they talk about the speed of mind. It's the fastest speed in the universe. Way faster than the speed of light. Speed of mind. Because you'll be out somewhere or even inside somewhere. You could be hearing something someone said or reading something on your phone or just some memory pops in your head. Anything, really. And you'll immediately have a feeling. You'll immediately have some emotional response, an emotional reaction to these triggers or these things around you. And it's so fast, we do not catch at all what's working in the mind, how it is processing the outer stimuli, dredging up something from the past, the thought that narrates that in a negative light, and then boom, you're feeling something and now you're reacting. And now that's what you're in right now. Happens so fast, we don't catch it. But these opportunities are all the time. My goodness, they're going to happen. So many things are going to push our buttons. And the ones who push our buttons the most are our family members. And the reason why they push our buttons, because they're the ones who installed them. I shared that with Yeni last night on BC, yeah. Mother Tasha has a lot of good quotes. So no, you don't have to seek them out, brother. It's going to happen. And for some people, they don't have too much negativity. Like, you meet our a very, I don't know, good spirited young man, a very happy gentleman. I haven't really perceived you get upset much, but we don't hang out too often. So you might not have that much going on. Your consciousness could be a lot cleaner than most, which could be great.
Yeah, I asked that because I don't have any issues. Oh, to say that, not in a privileged sense, that I have no concern of really any material thing. If I lose my material things, it is what it is. But I had a follow-up question. I was wondering, how do you know that something was brought to you for God? God wanted you to do something. Say, and then Mother Natasha went out to do charity, and then you wanted to join and help her do charity, and things like that. It's like, how do you know that God wants you to do it versus something's just in your mind, like, hey, I just feel like doing this, and it might be coming from a place of ego and wanting to help out of worldly reasons instead of something more spiritual.
Side note is adorable. Every time you talk, the chicken anime goes on your icon. I'm just watching the chicken move. and then you mute and the chicken stops. Sorry. Look, I'm distracted. I'm having fun. How do you know your desires are either to please yourself or to please God? Well, you'll know because of where the instruction or the impetus comes from. When we're not in a pure state of consciousness, which, let's be honest, who really is? None of us really are. Every desire we have is a desire to be happy or to avoid pain, right? That's the cause behind all of our desires. To feel pleasure or to avoid pain. So even a good desire, like wanting to do charity work, wanting to make a difference, wanting to be a good person, that is a very altruistic, very selfless desire. But even even 1 small percent, it could be also self-serving, because I'd like to make a world a better place because I think the world sucks and I would enjoy it more if it was a better place, or I want to do good and be a better person so that I don't suffer more. So it's very subtle, very, very subtle. But we don't have to nitpick ourselves so much, especially not in the beginning. Don't worry about that. I mean, in the beginning of spiritual life, there is no pure devotional service. There isn't. Unless we're fully purified of all material contamination. Or the Bhagavad Gita would teach, free from all the modes of passion and ignorance and whatnot. Then it's impossible to render pure devotional service. That's why the beginning stage of spiritual life is called the offensive stage. Because you don't know better. You're unwittingly going to be committing offenses and not doing things purely. That's fine. That's natural. But how do you know if your actions are pleasing to God? Well, you'll know if you have a spiritual master and they give you instruction to do something or not do something, and you follow that instruction. That is pleasing to God. You receive knowledge or commandment from the scriptures and you obey it, you follow it. That is pleasing to God. When the source, the direction is coming directly from God or God's representative. Then you know that if I do this work, regardless of the result of the work, if I just do it, it'll be pleasing to God. Like, for example, me holding these classes every weekend. I'm doing this because, first and foremost, it was instructed by my spiritual master, and I know that by doing this, it is pleasing to her and therefore pleasing to God, ultimately. And second reason is because out of love, I want to share and help others to be free from suffering, as these teachings have helped me come closer to love and let go of my own suffering and ignorance. But first and foremost, I'm doing it as a service to God. And if you guys didn't show up, I'm so glad you guys do. Otherwise, it'd be super boring, if you guys didn't show up. Even if nobody showed, It doesn't matter. The whole point is it's being offered. You're doing the work. You're doing the service. And not thinking of what I get back from it. Me, 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 me. What do I get? See, if you're trying to get something from your service, a little fruitiveness, yeah, that's not pure devotional service, no. But it's better than not attempting service. The more you keep practice, hearing, chanting, remembering, these little impurities, these little, finer things of material contamination, they fall off eventually. They do. They get fine-tuned. They get polished away, They do, as long as you stay on the path, be sincere, and as much as possible, try to follow the instructions purely. Be a humble, simple devotee, just a servant of the servants of God, and just do what they say and try to be of loving service. Very, very simple. And that will be pleasing to God. And then eventually, when you get to higher states of self-realization, greater levels of purification of your mind, more illusion, ignorance dissipated out of your mind, then you'll be able to render much better service, free from fruitive activities, mental speculation, things like that. Then, that'll be very pleasing. But just chanting daily, that is very pleasing to God. Attending these classes, for example, that is pleasing to God. More pleasing, trying to apply and live out the instructions you receive from these classes. That is more pleasing to God. Definitely. As far as like our day-to-day stuff, right? Is my job pleasing to God? Is my hobby pleasing? I mean, again, don't nitpick ourselves. Focus on the good. We're not perfect yet. I mean, technically we are perfect. We're just covered over. So we're not completely uncovered yet, I should say. So be easy on ourselves. Follow in the footsteps of those pure masters and devotees who came before us. And gradually your desires will be purer and purer and purer. As long as you stay fixed on the goal, the ultimate goal being love of God and pure devotional service and being again with God in love. Everything will fall into place. Does that make a little more sense, brother?
That makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, in the beginning, according to more Vedic terminology, the beginning of devotional service is called like sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti, which means devotional service by following the prescribed rules and regulations. That's what sadhana bhakti is, for someone like myself, taking vows, spiritual master, I'd be following regulated principles, doing my daily chanting. And that's pretty much, bare minimum. If I can just keep my vows, do my daily minimum chanting, which for us 2 hours a day or 16 rounds of Mahamantra, that's a win. If you can just do that every day, and and as much as you can throughout the day, fill it with devotional service as much as you can, purifying good association, much good association as possible. And negative stuff comes up, do the peace process, don't be lazy, stop what you're doing, feel your feelings, breathe, let that stuff go, replace it with the good true thoughts, good feelings, send love, for example, be love, be in the present, keep, do the best you can. Sadhana bhakti. And we never do it perfect. Who does it perfect right out the gate? No, there's some examples, sure. There's some been great saints who, right as they hit the water, they were swimming like a duck. They were perfect. There's a few examples, but we're not like that. No, for the most part, we're stumbling blind children trying to find our way. And stumbling many times. So, so sadhana bhakti, just keep your vows, do your practice. Try to surround yourself with as much good association beneficial for your spiritual life as possible. Do that peace process, purify your mind of anything that negative that comes up, and you're able to catch it, the opportunity and the difficulties, right? And then eventually you might become more self-realized and come to the next stage of spiritual life, which is the spontaneous love. From sadhana bhakti, just doing what you got to do, what you have to do, the do's and don'ts, right? And you do that enough, you get so much more purified that, and eventually you get to the spontaneous, I forget the name of it in Vedic terms, but spontaneous devotional service. Well, now just out of sheer joy in your own desire, you want to engage in devotional service. You want to hear, chant, remember, more and more throughout your day. You want to be of more loving service. Just randomly chanting the holy names of God and glorifying the Lord just out of love. So, but first you got to do the boot camp. You got to go through the crucible. Got to do the hard work, and then eventually that work becomes integral part of you, inseparable part, and everything just you become more and more your natural self. Did you have a question, love? What's up?
For the peace process, you mentioned about finding the good thoughts about that person who hurt or is bad person. If we don't find any good thoughts while we're doing peace process, what should we do? Just leave that part empty and just the rest of the peace process can work?
Okay, she's saying, what if you can't find any good thing about the other person who's the trigger for your upset? Well, keep trying. That's what you have to keep trying.
No, what I mean is if really in that moment don't do anything, but other steps on the peace process are still having some good effects. But in that number, I don't know, it's number 7 or 8, I don't know, that said finding good thoughts about the person and yourself.
Mm-hmm.
In just for that number, if I can't find anything, still the other peace process, the other numbers still, when we feel the blank, still can have the effect until that good thoughts about that person come.
I never heard Mother Tasha mention that you can skip a step. Because that's all part of the process of retraining the mind. Because ultimately, you're trying to focus on the good, not the negative. So you're retraining your mind. Where does you're putting your focus? Because we default to focus on the negative things. We default to fault finding, right? We don't really focus on good things. We go out walking in our day, walking around, we'll notice the negative things around us far faster and more reoccurring than the good things, won't we? The mind is constantly seeking the negative. You're trying to retrain, reprogram, recondition your mind. And trying to find the good, true thought about another person or a thing and about yourself is part of that reprogramming of your mind. You can't skip that part. That's all part of it. And like I said, this is the hard part for most people. A lot of people trying to find the good thing about someone who's really upset you. But you got to at least try. And that's why I said it could be any good thing. Anything, And remember, every single person is a servant of God, is a beloved lover, spirit, soul, just covered over. So no one is like 100% evil. Now the covering over can be so dark. The ignorance, the illusion that someone may be experiencing, covering their true self, can be so dense that it may feel like, that is not a single speck of light be able to get through. But still, their true nature is one of love, bliss, and eternality. And the fact that someone is so covered over, so ignorant, so wicked in their consciousness, you got to understand that they're definitely not experiencing love and peace in their life. No, their life is quite miserable, quite suffering. You know, it's, I mean, to be always in such an angry, cruel, you know, evil mindset, I mean, just think how much they are suffering and how much they're going to continue to suffer, birth after birth after birth. Oh, their suffering's practically endless. But still, the nature is the same as your nature, just covered over. They are further from truth than you may be. But you do this process not for them, but for you. Remember, it's something that you do for yourself alone. You do it for you because not because they're worthy, but you are worthy. Remember, she taught. So you have to, for your own benefit, for your own good, so that you come to love, try to reprogram your mind by focusing on something good. Even direct good thinking towards someone or something that has caused you great pain. Not that they are good, but that you are looking for good. Even just trying to look for the good. I mean, even if it takes you minutes, days, hours, who knows, you still try your best.
So we can focus on, if I can't find anything good about that person, I can focus on the thing that his true self is a pure soul, is a trap in this material world, and anything related to the material world.
Well, that is knowledge about the nature of the soul. That is not something specific about that person, is it? Because that's just a ballpark, you know, understanding of everybody.
But it's kind of suiting me when I think like that.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like that might be a crutch that won't actually take you over the edge to what you really need. You got to be a little more specific. You got to really try. You know, because supposed to say that, oh, well, every spirit soul is trapped in ignorance, then you can just say that for everybody and not actually do the specific hard work. You know, oh, someone's going to, oh, somebody, you know, you're not actually, you got to really get in there, because something that they did specifically or said specifically has brought up these emotions. So you needed to specifically get to that person and who they are. You know, this is the reprogramming. Don't be lazy. Don't cut corners. It's hard work. That's why Mother Atasha said, spiritual life, you got to be a warrior. It's not for wusses. You got to be strong. You got to be brave and courageous to look inside yourself and do the hard work that doesn't always feel good. But it's not about feeling good, but about being good.
I only came to my mind as politician doing lots of murders, doing bad things to the people, to the innocent folk. That's the only thing that I can find a good thought about that.
Are these people you've had personal experience of?
Yes.
Politicians?
No, the government, I mean.
You mean
Government who runs the country.
cruel government authority figures.
Yes.
Okay. Well, seems like you have your work cut out for you. You know, a lifetime of work. And it wouldn't be a wasted life. It'd be a glorious life if you keep trying. You know, you may have more work to do with your mind than, let's say, someone like Meat has to do with his mind. We all have a different amount of burden or amount of ignorance or experiences that we have to deal with. No one's the same. But the process to free ourselves, the knowledge of all this is the same. You know, just like, you know, you want to run a marathon. Someone may have a more easy stride and someone might be struggling. You know, we're not all in the same shoes here. And if you're struggling in your mind greatly, well then, great may be your endeavor to overcome it, but God will help you. If you pray for help, keep chanting God's holy name. Pray that He'll help you, give you the strength, give you the insight, give you the guidance that you can overcome these negative thought processes of your mind and purify all that negativity to come to the present, to love, clear out all the past. God will help you. Because anything that you desire that brings you closer to Him, He will help. As I said, the more you desire God, the more God will give to you the ability to fulfill your desire. And all this negativity of the past of the mind, that is keeping us from loving God more. Because if we're still full of the things of the past, where is the room for God? Distracted of the things of the world, etc., etc. So that makes more sense, love? Mm-hmm. You gotta do the work. Mm-hmm. You can do it? Yeah? Be a warrior?
Yes.
The big things, we may have to do the peace process for, several times, many times even. Little things, maybe one time during the peace process, it will clear out, done. But big things could take a lot of extra work. But every time you do that, that's part of the spiritual practices. This is part of your self-realization. It's the best thing you could possibly be doing. I mean, it's not a waste of time. If you're doing 10, 20 peace processes a day, that ain't a waste of time. That is the best self-help, self-improvement work that you could possibly be doing. Honestly. Well, you still chant your rounds, finish your rounds at least though, but do your Mother Tasha, when we did this in the beginning, as I said, Mother Tasha would have us do these like 10 times a day. I had printouts of these peace processes. I folded in my pockets, in my book bag. I always had with me, I'd stop and I'd do it because my spiritual master said that this is going to help us be free from suffering, help purify us, get us closer to the love of God faster. And she said do it, so I did it. And you keep doing it, and then it becomes habitual. And then eventually, you do it enough times, the peace process, then it'll become automatic. You become, ready to be the detective in your mind, to feel it, find the thoughts, and to more efficiently catch everything that comes up and clear it out by the mercy of God. And of course, so chanting the holy names, that's the linchpin that holds it all together. Mm-hmm. But you gotta keep doing it. Muscle memory. Mm-hmm. Muscle memory. Some like people who train for those marathons or train for sports or whatnot, they do the same exercises, the same workout, same routine over and over and over again. And then when the time comes, when they need to compete, just muscle memory takes over. It's automatic. You just stay focused and everything works out, right? It's the same with the mind. The mind is like a muscle too that we are retraining. And the more you do this peace process, the more you try to apply this knowledge to be present in the present and no longer run, deny, or distract yourself from your feelings, but to face your feelings. And you keep doing that over and over again, then you'll be surprised, pleasantly surprised that over time, if you stay on it, that you'll catch yourself much faster than you did before. Like sometimes we'll be upset and we'll be upset for hours, all day even, right? And then later on realize, well, I was so upset earlier, Well, you keep practicing, then you'll catch yourself almost instantaneously and be like, I'm feeling anger right now. Okay, let me take a step back. Breathe, remember the knowledge, chant the holy names, this is all from the past, keep love present, and then you'll be very efficient at it. But you got to do the groundwork, the foundation, that's sadhana bhakti. 10 times a day. Go for it, at least, minimum. Okay. Anyone else have any last question or comment, maybe?
Real quick.
Yeah, bro.
One thing I was wondering is doing devotional service or just being on a spiritual path, does that burn your karma faster in his life? I see that saying thrown around, and it's like you're on speed mode for burning your karma. Is that true?
Devotional service, hearing, chanting, remembering, yes, it purifies reactions to past actions. It is Naish karma. And it just stands to reason, the more you chant, the more results you'll get. Mother Tasha said, by your desire and your effort. That's how long it would take you to be spiritualized. Your desire and the effort you put into it to fulfill that desire. So if your desire is super strong and you put a lot of effort to it, and yes, you will be burning up more karmic reactions. You will be purifying your mind more. Definitely.
But does that bring more difficulty into your life? Because I see in your context of more things will occur.
Well, you go beast mode in your devotional service and you let us know what comes up.
Good answer.
All right, we'll stop there. All glories to Mother Atasha, all glories to Religion of Love, all glories to the assembled devotees. Jai.